Good morning, John. I'm at the office. It's too early. Hey, Nick and Nicole.
Hi.
Hi. We're doing something weird today. I'm going to show you in just a second. Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good.
This is Superintendent Juneau. She is running for Congress to represent the state of Montana. You're talking to my brother right now.
Oh, hi. How are you?
So we do all our shooting down here. Oh, yeah. That looks good.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
There you go. Thank you.
Will you do a live ball?
Super official. This
Hi.
is my audience
Hi, audience.
and also my brother.
Hi, John.
And I wanted to talk to you, and I'm so grateful for you for doing this because I don't really want to talk about policy or about your campaign or what you're going to do for Montana when you're in Washington, which I imagine is most of what you talk about, which is good.
Right.
I just want to talk about like government, being an elected official, which you are right now, and you know how things have gotten very partisan and how that affects you running for office and you as a person also, because I think times we forget that politicians are people. But before we get into any of that, I'm going to give you a pop quiz.
All right.
I think you will know the answers to all of
I
these
hope
ones.
so.
You are running for,
U.S. House of Representatives.
and that is,
A House of Congress.
so members of the House of Representatives do what?
They make laws.
And the final question of the pop quiz is, how do you expect to afford the rents in D.C. if you
Wow.
win?
That's going to be a tough one. Probably get roommates and have to figure out who my friends in Congress are going to be.
You got all the questions right. This is a goat.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much.
Everyone gets a goat.
Everyone gets a goat.
You guys don't get goats. I'm
At
sorry.
MSU
I was
campus,
lying.
they've been doing a lot of work registering voters, and they have a vote goat.
Oh,
that they
okay.
put
Is it a live goat?
It is a live goat.
Like if you vote, you get to like pet the goat?
I don't know. It's just a vote goat that goes around with them to draw people over, so then you can register them to vote.
Now we are on to everyone's favorite topic, which is their own self. So we're going to talk about you. So you currently hold an elected office. You are the Superintendent of Public Instruction,
Correct.
which is just like the head of
The head,
schools.
it's the head of all the schools in Montana, basically. Every 4 years, people vote for this position. It's one of our statewide offices per our state constitution.
Was your campaign for the statewide office, was that significantly different than what you're experiencing now
Yes.
running for a more high-profile
Yes,
thing?
totally. You know, the issues are bigger. There's more scrutiny. You know, there's a larger microscope on you. You also get a bigger megaphone, and so that's good too.
I imagine there's also tough parts of that, like not a lot of time scheduled for sleep. Also, there's a lot of people who are going to be saying nasty things about
Sure.
you. I'm just curious what the worst part is.
It
I
is
guess.
that. I think it's the negativity in politics right now. It's the divisiveness. Good ideas sometimes don't get to be discussed because we draw ideological lines and then talk about, you know, fear-based sorts of issues rather than actually talking about issues that matter.
So is it safe to say that during this campaign you kind of came out?
So introduce my partner. You have somebody in your life and they need to be there to support you.
Did you feel like that was something that you needed to do for political reasons as well as personal ones?
Yeah, I think it was a mixture of both. People expect access. They want to know who their candidates are. And I think stepping up to this level from superintendent to Congress, it was important to make sure things were out there because of the negativity that can sometimes happen. And it really hasn't become an issue, which is
it's great.
I think, particularly when we look at Montana and the stereotypes around our state and its people, it actually hasn't become a political issue, which I think speaks volumes for our state and our country and the direction we're moving.
I was on your Twitter yesterday,
Right.
and it says in your bio, 54th generation Montanan, which made me laugh. I just want to know, how did you come to that particular number?
I just figure it's a long time, and it can try to disprove it, but it's sort of like American Indian people have been here before America was a country. It's important to bring that aspect of history to this race as well.
If you aren't that tuned in, mostly what you hear about government is the most dysfunctional things.
Right.
In America, we have very strong local government, and I'm worried about the future in which young people aren't as interested in that.
Yeah.
Because they see government as dysfunctional, or because they just see it as like an unpleasant task
Right.
to try and get into that.
For every message you get and every letter you get that says, I hate you, and you're doing the wrong thing and you're horrible, you get 3 or 4 that are really good. Or you run into people who say, my kid would not have graduated were it not for Graduation Matters Montana. And yep, you're going to always get the haters, but you know, the good stuff always outweighs those.
I believe you, I guess.
Yeah, you should.
What do you think politicians can do to make it feel like, to put the government, like the running of our country, ahead of winning the election?
Be present. 90% of politics is showing up. And you show up where people are gathered and you listen. And, you know, you put aside your partisan hat and you actually listen to people about what are your issues, why are they challenging, and how can we make them better? I mean, that's really the function of government, is to make things better. And that's why elections matter. It really does matter who sits in those seats that can actually get down and do the business of good government.
How terrifying is a debate?
Oh,
it seems so scary.
It is. I mean, it is something where, I mean, you kind of have to guess on what you're going to get asked. It's always a curveball. You never know. Getting up on that stage, it's something. I mean, you are definitely awake. Last debate actually had an audience question. If you're elected, how will you help LGBTQ people in the country? That sort of was a new question we hadn't been asked in previous debates. And so my answer was, number 1, get elected.
That's not fair.
It's very fair.
So I guess my last question is just how do you help Americans believe in government?
Well, I think, number 1, get elected. I mean, I'm not naive about, you know, there's a lot that needs to be fixed in government. And we need to really start moving away from such divisive politics. But through my life and through my role as an elected official, I know good things can happen. And so I'm optimistic. And I think most people who run for office, they want to make sure that things get better for the people that they represent. You're stepping up, you're putting yourself on the line, you're opening yourself up for scrutiny, but you're also opening yourself up to have real conversations with people. And when you're elected, to make a difference, to make a positive difference for the people who elected you. And I think that's really powerful.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks.
This was fun. John, I'll see you on Tuesday. Just how I end my videos. John, there are so many serious arguments that need to be had, so many issues that need to be discussed, that it can sometimes feel hard to justify just having a conversation with a person who is being voted on to be in a public office as if they are a person. But I think that it's really important to try and to imagine these people as people, especially at this moment when the information silos and the vote-or-die communication strategies are combining to create the most extreme partisanship I've ever seen in my lifetime. The result of all of this is that no one ever talks about the things that work, and so everybody thinks that everything's broken, but it's not. Yes, things need to be maintained, and we all need to work to do that maintenance. But that doesn't mean that it's never been worse and that we're losing and that everything is crashing down around us. Americans, humans, we have problems right now. But we are good at taking on problems. I obviously cut a lot out of this interview. The full interview was like a half an hour long. I would love it if you would go watch the whole thing. We got deeper into several of the topics from this video and then talked about stuff that isn't in this video at all. I thought it was a fascinating conversation and I hope that you will as well. You can watch that video here. Click there, or there's a link in the description. And of course, as a final reminder, educational videos are exempt from the time limit. So stop talking about punishments in the comments.